Welcome back to Liberty Coin, USA. Have you ever found an old wheat penny and wondered if that tiny 1-cent coin could actually be worth a surprising amount of money? Some wheat pennies are common, while others have rare dates, unusual varieties, mint errors, or exceptional grades that can make them highly desirable to collectors. In today's video, we are going deep into the fascinating world of United States wheat pennies and discovering what makes these small coins so interesting. The Lincoln cent first appeared in 1909, and Abraham Lincoln became the first United States president featured on a circulating American coin. The original wheat reverse remained on the cent until 1958 and showed two wheat ears surrounding the denomination and country name. Today, these coins are collected by beginners, advanced numismatists, historians, and treasure hunters who search through old collections, inherited coin jars, estate finds, and rolls of coins, hoping to discover an unusual piece. The exciting part is that value is not determined by age alone. A coin can be old but common, while another coin from the same era can be much more valuable because of rarity, condition, mint errors, or collector demand. Current market value. Let's get started. The first up, 1943, with S mint mark wheat penny, is one of the most fascinating 1-cent coins from the United States Mint, and it belongs to a historic period when America was deeply involved in World War II. This coin was produced at the San Francisco Mint and carries the important S mint mark below the date. Unlike the famous copper-colored cents from earlier years, the normal 1943 cent was made from zinc-coated steel because copper was urgently needed for military equipment, ammunition, electrical wiring, and other wartime purposes. The result was a silver-gray-colored Lincoln wheat cent that looks very different from the traditional brown copper pennies. The 1943 S cent was produced in large numbers as part of this wartime change, and millions of examples entered circulation across the United States. Even though many were made, these coins remain highly interesting to collectors because they represent an unusual chapter in American coinage history. A coin in fine condition can still attract attention when the date and S mint mark are clearly visible, and the surfaces remain reasonably attractive. Collectors also examine these cents carefully because the year 1943 is strongly connected with some of the most famous Lincoln cent errors ever discovered. The story of the 1943 steel cent begins with the shortage of copper during World War II. Copper was considered an important strategic material, and the government needed large quantities for military production. The United States Mint therefore experimented with different materials that could replace the normal bronze composition used for Lincoln cents. After testing several possibilities, the Mint selected zinc-coated steel for regular production in 1943. This created a coin with a bright gray or silver appearance. When new, the basic design remained the familiar Lincoln wheat cent design created by Victor David Brenner. The obverse shows a portrait of President Abraham Lincoln with the inscription Liberty, and the year 1943. The reverse features two wheat ears surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the motto E pluribus unum. The S mint mark identifies the San Francisco Mint. These details make the 1943 S wheat penny immediately recognizable and historically important. One of the most interesting characteristics of the 1943 S wheat penny is its steel composition. A genuine regular issue 1943 cent should normally be attracted to a magnet. Because of its steel core, the zinc coating gave the coin its distinctive pale appearance. When it was fresh from the mint, with age and circulation, many pieces developed dark gray surfaces or spots where the coating became damaged. This is one reason condition is extremely important when determining value. A coin described as fine generally shows substantial circulation wear, while major design elements remain visible. Lincoln hair details may be worn, and the wheat ears on the reverse may show reduced detail, but the coin should still be identifiable and reasonably solid. Overall, collectors also look for excessive corrosion, scratches, staining, and damage, because these problems can reduce market appeal. A clean original surface is usually preferable to a coin that has been harshly cleaned. The S mint mark is another important feature of this particular coin. It appears beneath the date on the obverse and indicates that the coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint during the 1943 production year. The Philadelphia Mint, Denver Mint, and San Francisco Mint all produce steel cents. Their mint marks allow collectors to distinguish the different issues. The 1943 S variety is therefore part of a larger group of wartime steel cents that includes the 1943 Philadelphia issue and the 1943 The issue, the San Francisco issue, is collected by date and mint mark, and examples with attractive original surfaces can be desirable additions to a Lincoln cent collection. The presence of the S does not automatically make every 1943 cent extremely rare. This is an important point for anyone discovering one in an old collection or coin jar. Rarity and value depend on authenticity, condition, color, surface quality, errors, and other specific characteristics. The biggest reason the 1943 Lincoln cent became famous is the existence of rare 1943 copper cents. These coins were produced accidentally when some copper planchets remained in the mint production system after the change to steel planchets. Genuine 1943 copper cents are extremely rare and can be worth very large amounts depending on authenticity and condition. This history has caused many people to believe that every 1943 penny could be worth a fortune. That is not correct. The normal 1943 wheat penny is a steel cent and is far more common than the famous copper era. Another important point is that many altered or plated coins have appeared over the years, and some are offered as rare copper examples, even though they are ordinary steel cents. Professional authentication is essential for any suspected 1943 copper cent, because the difference between an ordinary wartime penny and an authentic major era can be enormous. For a normal 1943 wheat penny in fine condition, the market value is generally much more modest than the prices associated with famous 1943 copper eras, depending on the exact grade, surface quality, originality, and current collector demand. An ordinary circulated example may commonly sell for around a few cents to perhaps $1 or several dollars in the lower circulated market. Better preserved examples can bring higher prices, and coins with strong eye appeal may receive premiums. These figures are approximate rather than guaranteed, because coin prices change with auction results, dealer demand, and grading standards. A certified coin from a respected grading service can sometimes bring more attention than an uncertified example. When the grade is important to buyers, the most valuable pieces are usually not ordinary fine examples, but unusually high-grade specimens or coins displaying a genuine and significant mint era. Another feature collectors should examine is the possibility of an error or variety. The 1943 series is famous for unusual pieces, including wrong planchet errors, and the legendary copper cents. A 1943 cent that does not respond to a magnet may deserve additional investigation, because normal 1943 steel cents should be magnetic. However, magnet testing alone does not prove that a coin is a rare copper cent. Other tests, such as weight measurement and professional examination, are important, because altered coins can fool simple inspections. A normal 1943 steel cent weighs about 2.7 grams, while the traditional bronze cents weigh more at about 3.11 grams. Collectors should avoid damaging the coin while testing it, and should never scratch or chemically clean a suspected rare piece. If a coin appears unusual, then professional authentication can protect its value and provide a reliable identification. The condition of 1943 wheat penny is also central to its market value. Fine condition means the coin has experienced noticeable circulation, but important design features remain visible. Collectors generally prefer coins with original surfaces and clear details. A strong date is especially useful, because worn dates can make identification difficult. The S mint mark should also be clearly visible on the reverse. The wheat stalks should remain recognizable, and the lettering should be readable. Dark staining, corrosion, and severe scratches can reduce desirability even when the coin is genuine, because steel cents can develop rust when their protective zinc coating is damaged. Proper storage is important. A dry coin holder or archival quality storage system can help protect the surface. Cleaning is usually discouraged, because harsh cleaning can leave permanent marks that lower collector appeal. The historical value of the 1943 wheat penny goes beyond its financial price. It is a physical reminder of how the Second World War influenced everyday American life. Even a tiny 1-cent coin was affected by the enormous demand for strategic materials. The mint had to change its production methods because resources were being directed toward the war effort. The steel cent therefore represents a fascinating moment when national events directly changed ordinary money used by millions of Americans. For collectors, this connection makes the coin simple old penny. It becomes a small historical artifact from the wartime economy. The coin also demonstrates how changes in metal composition can create new collecting opportunities and unexpected varieties. Today, the 1943 wheat penny remains popular with beginners and experienced collectors, because it combines history-distinctive appearance and the possibility of discovering an unusual era when evaluating a 1943 wheat penny. Today, the best approach is to examine the coin carefully and avoid assuming that every wartime penny is rare. Confirm that the date is 1943 and that the mint mark is S. Check whether the coin is magnetic and examine its weight without damaging it. Look closely at the color and surfaces, because a genuine regular steel cent should normally have the characteristics expected from zinc-coated steel. If the coin appears copper-colored or has unusual weight, then professional authentication may be worthwhile for an ordinary example. In fine condition, the value is usually relatively affordable and should not be confused with the extraordinary prices paid for authenticated 1943 copper errors. Still, the coin has strong historical interest and can be a rewarding collectible. Its wartime origin, distinctive steel composition, and connection to some of the most famous Lincoln cent errors make the 1943 wheat penny a memorable piece of American numismatic history. If you have one in your collection, examine it carefully, because even when it is not a major rarity, it tells an important story about America and the coins people used during one of the most important periods of the 20th century. Next up, the 1946 wheat penny is an interesting United States 1-cent coin from the Lincoln wheat cent series, and this particular example has no mint mark, which means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The year 1946 is especially important because it came immediately after the end of World War II, and the United States Mint was returning to normal coin production after several years of wartime changes. The Lincoln wheat cent design remained on American pennies and continued to show President Abraham Lincoln on the front, with the famous wheat ears. On the reverse, a 1946 penny without a mint mark is not automatically a rare coin, because Philadelphia cents traditionally carried no mint mark. Millions of these coins were produced, and many entered everyday circulation. However, collectors continue to search for well-preserved examples, because condition can make a significant difference in desirability and price. A coin described as being in good condition normally shows heavy circulation, but the main design remains identifiable. The historical connection to the post-war period also makes this penny interesting to collectors who enjoy coins connected with important moments in American history. The background of the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny begins with the famous Lincoln cent design created by Victor David Brenner. The design had first appeared in 1909 and became one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The obverse shows Abraham Lincoln facing right with the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" along with the date 1946. The reverse displays two wheat stalks surrounding the denomination 1 cent, and the words "United States of America." The motto "E pluribus unum" appears above the central lettering. This wheat design continued until 1958, when the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design. Because of this long history, the wheat penny became the most recognizable American coins. The 1946 issue, therefore, belongs to a famous series that is collected by date and mint mark. A no mint mark example represents the Philadelphia production and is an important part of a complete Lincoln wheat cent collection. The year 1946 makes this coin particularly interesting because it represents the transition from wartime America to the post-war economy during World War II. The mint had changed the composition 1 cent coin and produced steel cents in 1943 because copper was needed for military purposes. By 1944, the mint returned to copper-based cents using metal recovered from wartime materials. The 1946 penny, therefore, appeared during a period when the country was rebuilding and returning to peacetime production. The coin itself has a copper-colored appearance. When its original surfaces are preserved with circulation, the color can become darker and the surfaces can develop signs of age. Many examples were used heavily because the 1 cent denomination was an everyday part of American commerce. Finding a 1946 penny today is therefore like finding a small surviving piece of the economic history of the immediate post-war period. One of the most important features of the 1946 penny without a mint mark is the absence of a letter below the date. This absence should not automatically be considered an error. Philadelphia produced many Lincoln cents without a mint mark, and this was normal practice for United States coinage. By comparison, cents produced at Denver carried a D mint mark, while San Francisco cents carried an S mint mark. The mint mark allows collectors to identify where a particular coin was manufactured. For the 1946 series, the Philadelphia issue is a regular and collectible variety. even though it does not have a visible mint letter. Collectors should therefore avoid paying large premiums simply because a 1946 penny has no mint mark. The true value comes from a combination of date, condition, originality, varieties, errors, and collector demand. Understanding the minting system is one of the best ways to avoid confusing a normal feature with a rare error. The condition of a 1946 wheat penny can have a major effect on its market value. A coin in good condition has experienced substantial circulation, and much of the fine detail has disappeared. Lincoln's portrait may show heavy wear, and the hair and facial details can be weak on the reverse. The wheat stalks and lettering may also show significant wear. Even so, the date should remain readable, and the coin should be identifiable as a 1946 Philadelphia cent. Collectors often prefer coins with original surfaces, even when the grade is low, because cleaning can permanently damage a coin. Harsh polishing can leave scratches and unnatural brightness, which may reduce collector interest. Brown toning is common on old copper cents and is not necessarily a problem. The most important point is that the coin should be genuine and not artificially altered. If a 1946 penny has unusually strong details or exceptional preservation, then it may deserve a much higher grade than a typical circulated good. Example: when discussing the current market value of a 1946 wheat penny, it is important to separate an ordinary circulated example, high-grade or unusual specimen. A normal 1946 Philadelphia wheat cent in good condition is generally not a huge dollar rarity, and many circulated examples can trade for a relatively small amount above face value, depending on the exact grade and current market conditions. An ordinary example may often be worth around 10 cents to perhaps $1 or a few dollars. Higher grade examples can bring substantially more when they have attractive original surfaces. Strong details. Certified high-grade coins can command premiums because collectors compete for exceptional examples. Market prices can change over time based on auction results, dealer inventory, and collector demand. Therefore, anyone claiming that every 1946 penny without a mint mark is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars should be cautious. The normal Philadelphia issue is common enough that rarity must be demonstrated through condition or a genuine special characteristic. Reason collectors examine 1946 wheat pennies carefully is the possibility of varieties and mint errors. Some Lincoln cents can have doubled design elements, repunched details, planchet problems, or other unusual characteristics. A genuine mint error can sometimes increase the value of an otherwise ordinary coin. However, not every unusual mark is an error. Damage from circulation, machinery, corrosion, cleaning, or contact with other coins can create shapes that look unusual to inexperienced collectors. For this reason, a suspected error should be compared with reliable references or examined by a professional numismatist. The date and mint mark area should be checked carefully, as well as the lettering on both sides. Collectors can also examine the edge for signs of damage or alteration. A coin that appears different from standard examples may be worth investigating, but it is always important to establish authenticity before assigning a high value. The physical appearance of 1946 wheat penny provides additional clues about its history. Because the coin was made from a copper-based composition, it can develop different shades of brown as it ages. Some coins retain reddish tones when they have been carefully preserved, while heavily circulated pieces are generally brown and darker. Small marks and scratches are expected on circulated examples because these pennies were handled frequently. The overall surface should be examined under good lighting without using harsh chemicals. Cleaning an old copper coin can remove its original surface and may reduce its collector value. Proper storage is also important because moisture and environmental chemicals can affect copper coins over time. A collector who discovers a 1946 penny should consider placing it in a suitable coin holder rather than leaving it loose with other objects that could scratch the surface. The historical importance of the 1946 wheat penny also makes it a fascinating item. For storytelling and collecting, this was a year when millions of American families were adjusting to life. After the war, soldiers were returning home and industries were moving from military production toward consumer goods. The economy was changing, and ordinary Americans continued using small denomination coins in shops and businesses across the country. A simple 1-cent coin circulated through this changing society. Every scratch and worn surface can be seen as evidence of its long journey through everyday commerce. While its financial value may be modest, its historical story can be much more meaningful. The coin connects modern collectors with a time when the United States was entering a new era after the enormous global conflict of World War II. In conclusion, the 1946 wheat penny without a mint mark is an authentic Philadelphia mint issue, and its missing mint mark is normally a standard feature rather than evidence of a rare mistake. Its value today depends primarily on condition, originality, variety, and collector demand. A good condition example is generally affordable and should not automatically be described as a major rarity. However, exceptionally preserved examples and authenticated errors or varieties can be much more valuable. Collectors should examine the date, the portrait, the wheat reverse, the surfaces, and any unusual characteristics before making a valuation. If a coin appears to have an unusual error, then professional authentication may be worthwhile. The 1946 wheat penny remains a fascinating collectible because it combines the famous Lincoln design with the history of America's return to peacetime life. Even an ordinary example can be an enjoyable piece of history and a reminder that sometimes the smallest coins can carry stories that are far greater than their face value. Next up, 1953 with D mint mark wheat penny is a fascinating 1-cent coin from the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, and it was produced at the Denver Mint during a period when the United States was experiencing major economic and social changes. The D mint mark below the date identifies Denver as the place where this coin was struck. The Lincoln wheat cent design features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. The 1953 date places this coin near the final years of the wheat penny series, which makes it an attractive piece for collectors who enjoy completing date and mint mark collections. An uncirculated 1953 D wheat penny can be considerably more desirable than a heavily circulated example, because it may retain much of its original detail and mint appearance. Collectors pay close attention to surface quality, color, original luster, and marks when judging an uncirculated coin. The phrase rare coin should be used carefully because the 1953 D issue was produced in large numbers and is not automatically a major rarity. However, an exceptional uncirculated specimen with strong eye appeal can have a meaningful collector premium. The history of the 1953 D wheat penny begins with the Lincoln cent design created by Victor David Brenner. The design was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The obverse shows Lincoln facing right with the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," along with the date 1953. The reverse contains 2 wheat ears surrounding 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto "E pluribus unum" above. This reverse design remained in use for almost 50 years before the Lincoln Memorial reverse replaced it in 1959. The wheat penny, therefore, represents an important chapter in American coinage history. The 1953 D issue is especially interesting because it belongs to the final decade of the wheat cent era. For collectors, the combination of date and D mint mark makes it easy to identify as a Denver Mint issue, and it can be an important addition to a complete Lincoln wheat cent collection. The D mint mark is one of the most important identifying features of the 1953 D wheat penny. It appears beneath the date on the obverse and indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. The presence of the D separates this coin from the Philadelphia issue, which normally has no mint mark, and from the San Francisco issue, which carries an S mint mark. Mint marks are extremely important in Lincoln cent collecting because coins from different mints can have different production quantities and different levels of collector demand. The 1953 D cent was part of the large-scale production needed to supply the nation's economy with 1-cent coins. Millions of pennies were used every day in stores and businesses, and many were exposed to wear and environmental damage. Finding an uncirculated example today can therefore be more exciting than finding an ordinary worn specimen, because the coin may have escaped years of circulation. The uncirculated condition mentioned for this coin is particularly important when discussing value. An uncirculated coin is generally one that shows little or no evidence of having circulated in everyday commerce. Original mint luster may still be visible across the surfaces, and the design details can remain sharp. However, uncirculated does not mean that every coin in this category has the same value. Professional grading services divide uncirculated coins into different numerical grades, and the difference between a lower uncirculated grade and a very high grade can be substantial. Collectors examine Lincoln's cheek and jaw area because these surfaces can show marks from contact with other coins. They also inspect the fields, wheat stalks for scratches, spots, discoloration, and signs of cleaning. Original color is another important consideration for copper cents. A coin that retains attractive reddish original color can be more desirable than a similar coin that has turned completely brown, depending on collector preference and certified grade. The current market value of a 1953 wheat penny can vary greatly depending on grade and appearance. An ordinary circulated example is generally worth only a modest amount above face value, while an uncirculated specimen can command a higher price. For a typical uncirculated 1953 cent, the market may range from a few dollars into higher amounts, depending on the exact grade and color designation. Certified high-grade examples can sell for substantially more when collectors compete for top-quality pieces. The strongest prices are generally associated with coins that have exceptional preservation, strong original luster, attractive color, and very few distracting marks. It is important to remember that market values change over time and prices from one auction do not guarantee the same result for another coin. A seller should therefore avoid assuming that every 1953 penny is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars simply because it is uncirculated. Exact grading and professional authentication can make a major difference. One unique feature that collectors often examine on the 1953 wheat penny is the quality of the strike. Some coins can show stronger detail in Lincoln's hair and facial features, while others may have softer details. Because of production conditions, the reverse can also be inspected for the sharpness of the wheat stalks and lettering. A strong strike, combined with excellent preservation, can increase eye appeal. Collectors also look closely at the D mint mark to make sure it is genuine and has not been altered. Small scratches or marks around the mint mark can sometimes come from circulation or handling rather than the minting process. A genuine uncirculated coin should generally have surfaces consistent with its history and should not show obvious signs of polishing or harsh cleaning. The best examples are often those that look natural and retain attractive original surfaces. Another interesting aspect of the 1953 wheat penny is its copper composition, and the way the metal changes with age. Newly struck copper cents can have bright reddish surfaces, while older coins often develop brown or reddish-brown coloration. Environmental exposure can produce spots or darker areas, and improper storage can cause additional surface problems. Because copper reacts with its surroundings, collectors should store valuable examples in holders designed for long-term coin preservation. Coins should not be cleaned with household chemicals or polishing materials, because cleaning can leave permanent damage. Even an uncirculated coin can lose value if its original surface is destroyed. Collectors who discover a potentially valuable 1953 penny should handle it by the edges and avoid touching the main surfaces with their fingers. Proper handling and storage can help preserve the qualities that make an uncirculated coin desirable. Although the 1953 wheat penny is not considered an extreme rarity in its normal form, the possibility of valuable varieties and errors makes close examination worthwhile. Lincoln cents can sometimes display doubled elements, planchet problems, die varieties, or other minting abnormalities. A genuine error can increase the value of a coin, depending on how significant and recognizable the error is. However, many apparent errors are actually caused by damage after the coin left the mint. Scratches, dents, machine damage, and environmental effects can create unusual shapes that look mysterious to inexperienced collectors. For this reason, collectors should compare unusual features with trusted numismatic references and consider professional examination. When a coin appears significantly different from normal examples, an uncirculated coin with a genuine major mint error could be much more valuable than a standard example. The historical background of the 1953 wheat penny also gives it value beyond its financial price. The early 1950s were a significant period in American history, and the country was adjusting to the changes created by the post-war economy. American industry was growing, and everyday commerce continued to depend on small denomination coins. The penny was one of the most frequently used denominations, and millions of Lincoln cents passed through the hands of ordinary Americans. A 1953 cent, therefore, represents a small piece of that era. An uncirculated specimen is especially interesting because it may have remained outside circulation for decades. Instead of showing the wear created by thousands of transactions, it can preserve details from the time it was produced. This gives collectors a chance to study the design and craftsmanship of a mid-20th century American coin in a condition that is much closer to its original state. In conclusion, the 1953 wheat penny is a historically important Lincoln cent with an identifiable Denver mint mark and potentially attractive collector value. when preserved in uncirculated condition. Its value today depends on exact grade, color, surface quality, strike originality, and any verified varieties or errors. A normal uncirculated example can be worth several dollars or more depending on its certified grade, while exceptional high-grade pieces can bring significantly stronger prices. The coin should not automatically be considered extremely rare simply because it is from 1953 or because it has a D mint mark. The real opportunity for higher value comes from exceptional preservation and unusual, authenticated characteristics. Collectors should examine the date, mint mark, Lincoln portrait, wheat reverse, original luster, and surface condition carefully. If the coin appears unusually valuable, then professional grading can provide a reliable assessment. The 1953 D wheat penny remains a wonderful collectible because it combines the famous Lincoln design with the history of post-war America and the final years of the beloved wheat cent series. Next up, 1956 wheat penny is an interesting United States 1-cent coin that belongs to the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, and the example we are discussing has no mint mark, which identifies it as a Philadelphia mint issue. The coin was produced during the final years of the wheat penny design, and only a few years remained before the reverse design was changed to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. The obverse features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln with the date 1956 below his image and the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" surrounding the design. The reverse displays the traditional pair of wheat ears with the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America. The absence of a mint mark is completely normal for a Philadelphia-produced Lincoln cent from this period. A 1956 penny in nice condition can be attractive to collectors, especially when it has good detail, clean surfaces, and pleasing original color. However, the coin should not automatically be considered extremely rare simply because it has no mint mark. The real value depends on condition, variety, color, surface quality, and current collector demand. The historical background of the 1956 wheat penny connects this coin to one of the most recognizable designs in American numismatic history. Victor David Brenner created the Lincoln portrait used on the cent, and the design first appeared in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The wheat reverse became a defining feature of the series and remained in production until 1958. During this long period, the Lincoln wheat cent circulated through many different generations of Americans and became one of the most commonly recognized American coins. By 1956, the design was already nearly 50 years old, and collectors were beginning to see the final chapter of the wheat cent era approaching. This gives the 1956 issue a special historical position because it was struck only a few years before the famous Lincoln Memorial reverse appeared. A collector who owns a 1956 Philadelphia cent therefore owns a small piece of the closing period of the classic wheat penny series. The missing mint mark on the 1956 wheat penny is an important feature to understand because some people mistakenly believe that every penny without a mint mark is rare. Philadelphia traditionally produced United States coins without a mint mark, and the 1956 cent follows this normal practice. Denver produced cents with a D mint mark, while San Francisco issues carried an S mint mark. When applicable, the absence of a letter beneath the date on this coin therefore indicates Philadelphia production rather than a minting error. Millions of cents were struck at Philadelphia, and many entered everyday circulation. Because of this, the no mint mark 1956 cent is not automatically a scarce coin. Collectors still seek these pieces because date and mint mark collecting requires examples from different production locations. A complete Lincoln wheat cent collection can contain Philadelphia issues alongside Denver and San Francisco examples, and each one contributes to the historical story of American coin production. The condition described as nice condition can make a noticeable difference in the desirability of a 1956 wheat penny. A coin with strong lettering and clear wheat stalks can be more attractive than a heavily worn example. Collectors examine the portrait of Lincoln and look for remaining detail in the hair, face, and clothing. The reverse is carefully inspected for the wheat ears, lettering, and overall sharpness. Surface quality is also extremely important because copper cents can develop scratches, spots, stains, and discoloration over many decades. A naturally aged brown color is common and does not automatically reduce the historical importance of the coin. Some collectors prefer red or reddish-brown examples because they can preserve more of the original appearance of the copper surface. The best coins are generally those that have not been harshly cleaned or polished. Cleaning can create unnatural brightness and fine scratches, which may reduce collector appeal, even when the coin looks shiny to an inexperienced observer. When discussing the current market value of a 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark, it is important to separate ordinary circulated examples from high-quality specimens. A normal circulated 1956 Philadelphia wheat cent generally has a relatively modest value and can often be purchased for a small amount above its 1 cent face value. Depending on condition and market demand, an ordinary example may commonly sell for around 10 cents to perhaps $1 or several dollars. Better preserved examples can be worth more, and certified high-grade coins may bring stronger premiums. The exact value can change based on auction results, dealer prices, and collector interest. A coin with attractive original red color can sometimes bring a premium over a similar coin with brown coloration when the grade is comparable. Therefore, the phrase big value should be treated carefully, because most 1956 no mint mark wheat pennies are not worth hundreds or thousands of dollars in normal circulated condition. Exceptional quality or a genuine rare variety is where the larger values may appear. One of the most important unique features of the 1956 wheat penny is its place near the end of the classic wheat reverse era. The wheat design had been used for almost 50 years and had become strongly associated with the American 1 cent denomination. By the middle of the 1950s, the United States Mint was preparing for a new reverse design that would eventually feature the Lincoln Memorial. The 1956 cent therefore belongs to the final group of wheat pennies, and this historical timing makes it attractive to collectors. The coin also demonstrates the traditional copper appearance associated with Lincoln cents from this period. Original surfaces can display different shades depending on storage and environmental conditions. Some pieces may have reddish highlights, while others develop deep brown coloration. Collectors often study these differences because color can influence both appearance and market value. A coin with excellent surfaces and attractive natural color can be far more appealing than a similar coin with corrosion or heavy staining. Another important point is the possibility of varieties and mint errors. Lincoln cents can sometimes show unusual doubling, die characteristics, planchet problems, or other production abnormalities. A genuine mint error can make an otherwise ordinary date and mint mark combination much more valuable. However, collectors should be careful because damage after the coin left the mint can imitate certain errors. Scratches, dents, machine damage, and chemical exposure can create shapes that look unusual but have no additional numismatic value. A suspected error should therefore be compared with reliable references and preferably examined by an experienced coin specialist. The date area should be checked carefully along with the lettering and wheat stalks. If a 1956 penny appears dramatically different from normal examples, it may be worth professional authentication. This is particularly important before accepting claims that a common wheat penny is worth a very large amount of money. The physical composition and aging process of the 1956 wheat penny also contribute to its unique appearance. Copper reacts naturally with oxygen, moisture, and other environmental factors, and this can cause the surface to change color over time. A newly struck coin could have a brighter reddish appearance, while an older circulated example may become brown or dark brown. Storage conditions can influence whether a coin develops attractive natural toning or unwanted spots, and corrosion. Collectors should avoid cleaning old copper cents because chemical treatments can permanently change the original surface. A good storage holder can protect the coin from moisture and unnecessary contact. Handling the coin by its edges is also recommended because fingerprints and oils from the skin can affect copper surfaces over long periods. For a collector who discovers a 1956 penny in nice condition, careful preservation can be one of the easiest ways to protect its existing value and historical character. The historical story behind the 1956 wheat penny is larger than its financial value because the coin circulated during an important period in American life. The United States was experiencing economic growth and technological development during the 1950s, while families across the country were adapting to a rapidly changing society. The 1 cent coin remained an essential part of daily commerce and could be found in stores, homes, cash registers, and pocket change. A 1956 penny may have passed through many hands during its original life, before eventually being saved by a collector. An example that remained in nice condition provides a small connection to that period of American history. It also represents the final years of a design that had been familiar to Americans since the early 20th century. This historical connection is one reason wheat pennies remain popular even when their monetary value is modest. In conclusion, the 1956 wheat penny without a mint mark is a genuine Philadelphia mint issue, and the lack of a mint mark is a normal feature rather than proof of a rare error. Its value today depends on condition, surface quality, color, originality, variety, and collector demand. A typical circulated example is usually worth only a modest amount above face value, while nicer specimens can bring higher prices. Exceptional uncirculated examples with attractive original color can command stronger premiums, and authenticated errors or varieties can be worth considerably more. Anyone who owns a 1956 wheat penny should examine the date carefully and inspect both sides for unusual characteristics. The coin should not be cleaned, because original surfaces are important to collectors, while the ordinary 1956 Philadelphia wheat cent is not an extreme rarity. It remains a fascinating historical collectible from the final years of the classic wheat penny series. Its famous Lincoln portrait, its wheat reverse, and its connection to the closing chapter of the wheat cent era make it a memorable 1-cent coin for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. Next up, 1957 with D-mint mark wheat penny is a fascinating American 1-cent coin from the final years of the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, and the D-mint mark tells us that this particular coin was produced at the Denver Mint. The coin carries the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse with the date 1957, and the D-mint mark located below the date. The reverse displays the traditional wheat ears that gave the series its popular name, along with the words 1 cent and United States of America, and the motto E pluribus unum. The 1957 D penny is historically interesting because it was produced only a short time before the wheat reverse was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. A dusty example may look dull or dark because of years of storage and environmental exposure, but dust alone does not necessarily mean the coin has lost its collectible value. Collectors are interested in the original condition beneath the surface, and they carefully examine the coin for scratches, corrosion, stains, cleaning, and other damage. The 1957 D wheat penny is not automatically an extremely rare coin, but examples with excellent preservation, attractive surfaces, or genuine mint errors can be more desirable and can bring stronger prices in the current market. The history of the 1957 D wheat penny begins with the Lincoln cent design created by Victor David Brenner. First introduced in 1909, the coin was created to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and it became one of the most recognizable designs in United States coinage. The obverse shows Lincoln facing right with the inscriptions Liberty and In God We Trust, and the date below his portrait. The reverse contains 2 wheat stalks surrounding the denomination 1 cent and the words United States of America. This wheat design continued for nearly half a century before the Lincoln Memorial reverse appeared in 1959. The 1957 D issue, therefore, belongs to the closing chapter of the wheat cent era. Millions of Americans used these coins in everyday commerce, and many examples were eventually worn down by years of handling. A surviving 1957 D penny can therefore provide a small physical connection to the economic life of the United States. During the late 1950s, the D mint mark is one of the most important identifying characteristics of this coin. It appears beneath the date on the obverse and indicates that the coin was struck at the Denver Mint. During this era, the United States Mint used mint marks to identify coins produced at different facilities. Philadelphia cents normally carried no mint mark, while Denver cents carried the D and San Francisco cents carried the S. When that mint produced the denomination, the mint mark is especially important to collectors because Lincoln wheat cents are commonly organized by date and mint mark. A 1957 D penny is therefore distinct from a 1957 Philadelphia penny, even though both share the same basic design and date. The D mint mark itself does not make the coin extremely rare, because the Denver Mint produced a large quantity of cents during this period. The true collector interest comes from the combination of date, mint mark, condition, surface quality, and any verified variety or error. The dusty condition of a 1957 D wheat penny deserves careful attention, because dirt and environmental residue can sometimes hide the original appearance of the coin. Dust may collect on the surface when a coin has been stored in an attic box, drawer, envelope, or other location for many years. If the coin is simply dusty, it may still have attractive surfaces underneath the residue. However, collectors should never assume that cleaning the coin will automatically increase its value. Harsh cleaning can create scratches and remove the original surface, and this can make the coin less desirable. A soft professional approach is generally safer than aggressive polishing or chemical treatment. Collectors can examine the coin under good lighting to determine whether the dull appearance comes from simple dust or from corrosion, staining, or surface damage. The date and mint mark should remain clearly visible, and the reverse lettering and wheat ears should also be inspected. A dusty coin may still be historically interesting, even when its market value remains modest. The current market value of a 1957 wheat penny depends heavily on its condition. An ordinary circulated example is generally not a major dollar rarity because many were produced, and many survive today in lower circulated grades. The coin may commonly sell for a small amount above its 1 cent face value, depending on condition and collector demand. An ordinary piece might be worth around 10 cents to perhaps $1 or few dollars. Higher grade examples can bring more, and professionally certified specimens in exceptional condition can sell for considerably stronger amounts. Coins with attractive original red color may receive a premium compared with heavily toned or damaged examples. When the grades are similar, market prices can change over time, so these figures should be treated as general estimates rather than guaranteed selling prices. The biggest mistake is assuming that every 1957 penny is worth hundreds or thousands of dollars simply because it is an old wheat penny. One unique feature of the 1957 wheat penny is its position near the end of the wheat cent series. By 1957, the famous wheat reverse had already been used for almost 50 years. Only one more year remained after 1957 before the final wheat cents were produced in 1958. In 1959, the United States Mint introduced the Lincoln Memorial reverse, and the classic wheat ears disappeared from regular circulation. This makes the 1957 penny part of a historically important group of late wheat cents collectors who build complete sets. Often want examples from these final years because they help tell the story of how the Lincoln cent design evolved. The coin also reflects the traditional copper appearance of Lincoln cents from this period. Depending on storage conditions, the surface can range from reddish brown to dark brown. Natural age toning can be attractive, while heavy corrosion or artificial alteration can reduce collector appeal. Another reason to inspect a 1957 wheat penny carefully is the possibility of unusual mint-made characteristics. Lincoln cents can sometimes display double design elements, die varieties, striking problems, or planchet abnormalities. A genuine and significant mint error can increase the value of a coin far beyond the value of a normal example. However, many unusual looking marks are caused by damage after the coin entered circulation. Scratches, dents, impacts, and machine damage can create shapes that appear to be doubled letters or unusual mint marks. Collectors should therefore compare any suspected variety with reliable numismatic references. The mint mark should be examined closely because it can also be affected by wear and damage. If a coin appears substantially different from standard 1957 examples, then professional authentication may be worthwhile. An unusual characteristic should never be assumed to be valuable until its origin is confirmed. The physical appearance of the copper surface is another important feature. When evaluating this coin, copper naturally changes color as it ages, and environmental exposure can cause the surface to become darker. A 1957 penny that has been stored for decades may have developed brown or reddish-brown toning. Dust can make the coin look even darker, but the underlying surface may remain intact. Collectors should avoid using abrasive materials or household chemicals because these methods can permanently damage the coin. A coin with original surfaces is generally more desirable than a coin that has been heavily polished. If the penny is being preserved for a collection, it should be kept in a suitable holder away from excessive moisture and harsh environmental conditions. Handling the coin by the edges can also help prevent fingerprints and oils from affecting the copper surface. Good preservation can protect both the historical character and potential collector value of the coin. The historical importance of the 1957 wheat penny goes beyond its monetary value because the coin circulated during a major period of American development. The late 1950s brought rapid changes in technology, transportation, entertainment, and consumer culture. American families were living through a period of economic growth. While new products and modern conveniences were becoming increasingly common, small denomination coins remained an important part of everyday transactions, and the Lincoln wheat cent was familiar to millions of Americans. A 1957 penny could could have traveled through shops, markets, restaurants, and homes before eventually being placed into a collection. Its worn surfaces can represent decades of real-world use, while an unusually well-preserved specimen may provide a clearer picture of how the coin looked when it was first produced. This combination of history and collectability makes the coin appealing even when its normal market value is relatively low. In conclusion, the 1957 wheat penny is a historically important Lincoln wheat cent from the final years of the classic wheat reverse design. The D-Mint mark identifies the Denver Mint, and the absence of a special era does not make the coin extremely rare by itself. A dusty example should be examined carefully, because surface dirt can hide the condition, but aggressive cleaning should be avoided. The current market value for an ordinary circulated 1957 penny is generally modest, while better preserved examples can bring higher prices. Exceptional certified coins with strong original color and high grades may command significant premiums, and genuine mint errors can be much more valuable. Anyone examining one of these coins should check the date, mint mark, Lincoln portrait, wheat reverse surface quality, and any unusual characteristics. The coin may not be a fortune in ordinary condition, but it remains a wonderful piece of American history. The 1957 wheat penny represents the final years of a design that had served American commerce for nearly half a century, and that historical connection gives this little 1-cent coin a special place in the world of coin collecting. Thanks for watching.